That was a traditional and auspicious start to this tea tasting. As with everything in our culture, there is a story behind it. There's an amazing story behind these teas, and there is an equally amazing story that our master, Ravibandhu, is going to share with us on why he played those drums at the beginning of this tea tasting session.
Well, what I just played on the Gataberea, or the Kandyan drum as it is called, was Magulbera, the ceremonial drums that we play traditionally in the beginning of any auspicious occasion. The interesting part there is that the syllabic combinations that I applied are said to be composed with drum syllables that cast good spells. Naturally, at any occasion begins with that kind of blessing, blissful drumming. You can make your own tea, can't you?
Absolutely.
So you make your own tea. You put water and you make it either strong or light, or add a little milk, add a little sugar if you like. Likewise, the traditional drummer, he selects the wood, he carves it, and he gets all these natural skins. The measurements are taken from his own limbs. For example, the width, the diameter of the face is that much. So we say Tun Viat Tunangulai, 3 spans and 3 fingers, and Vigutsak. So those are the traditional measurements applied to create a drum.
That's incredible, Ravi. I never knew that, but it's that brings the drums to life. Rather than simply hearing the sound, you hear heritage and you feel the soul of what you're doing. So now I want to share with you a little bit more of my passion and my art. The most popular tea in the world is English breakfast, grown in these beautiful hills, and this is where English breakfast originated. It was originally the Scottish planters, and Ravi, back then, those planters would wake up from muster at 4 a.m. At that time, they needed something strong and bracing to warm them up and to prepare them for the day. So they prepared a strong brew of fine Ceylon tea, and that was Scottish breakfast, which became English breakfast. But then we also said there's nothing English about tea.
Yeah.
And so what we did was we produced something that we call tropical breakfast. It's bright, it's oaky, little woody, little intense, strong. It has nice strength, flavor and texture, typical of a beautiful Ceylon tea from this region. But then we added some critical ingredients. Our heritage is a lot about wellness. It's about Ayurveda. We knew our ancestors' medication was our herbs, spices and roots. And so what you have in here are turmeric, fresh coconut, desiccated of course for shelf stability. But there's a combination of strength, of woodiness. So there is some intensity, but from the tiramisu you have the sweetness. You have from the coconut, you have that beautiful nutty character. It's tropical. So we call it tropical breakfast because it is truly tropical. But then from the turmeric and a little bit of the pepper, you have the spice.
Ah, wow.
Now what do you think of that?
Well, that reminds me of the early morning temple drums that we play exactly at 6. This is also a form of communication, that when at 6 the drum is played from the temple, people know it's 6 o'clock and they have to start work. The tammattama, this traditional drum, gives that kind of a warm, kind of sound, and may sound a little, like tough. That gives the stimulation to anybody.
Ravi, you have captured it in your words. You have captured exactly what this tea is about, because it's about warmth, it's about energy, it's about vitality. So now I like to hear it expressed in your art.
This particular rhythm pattern called the Aluyan Durya that we play every morning.
Wow, beautiful. You
Short
captured
segment.
it spectacularly. Now I have a challenge for you. Our next tea is a chai. You know, a chai, its origins are in how our ancient kings and royalty would want to take their medication. They would, of course, they enjoyed their teas, they enjoyed their herbs, their concoctions. But in Ayurveda, each herb has a specific medicinal property. And so they would combine these and then they would put it together into a chai which they would drink. And so it was a delivery mechanism for medication, for natural healing, different health and wellness herbs. And so in here you have ginger, you have cinnamon, you have cardamom, clove. It's beautiful, it's complex, it is savory, it is a little sweet from the clove, it is spicy, and it's balanced. Yet it's gentle, so it has a beautiful personality. It is like a bright and beautiful morning. So, what do you think?
Well, the name chai, if I may say that it's an Indian word and it's from Hindi. Here we have a few Indian drums. So the name simply connects it to the Indian drums. Here is the South Indian drum called Ghadam, made out of clay, and the mixture is clay, copper dust, silver dust, and stone dust. All that combines to make this ringing tone of the Ghadam, which means pot. And then, of course, here is the very famous tabla. So let's try and make a sound that gives a chai feeling.
Ravi, that's beautiful harmony. Spectacular. How did you make the noise on the top? Did you create a vacuum, you know, on the top
Yeah,
of the
it
pot?
is a vacuum. It's, yeah, there. So
Beautiful. Such a complex noise.
indeed,
That's-
and it's gives you some kind of, you know, something
A different feeling
very different
coming up
feeling
from your
coming
soul.
from exactly.
Beautiful. I love this. This is incredible. You know, I think this is truly bringing us a new dimension of harmony. So now I'm going to challenge you again. Now this is a semi-fermented tea. It's called a Springtime Oolong. So what it is at a certain moment, you have a light oolong that is made in a way that brings up the aromatics. And so you have almost an orchid note coming up. And we have combined it here with a little bit of natural ginger. It's like the dawn. When the mist rolls in and suddenly the sun comes, it burns it away, and there comes that spark of ginger and the sunshine and completely
Right.
different.
Well, frankly speaking, Dilhan, is that all these drums, any drum that a drum that may make a loud, big sound, or a drum that may make a very soft sound like the udakia. In all these drums, you can play the softest sound and the loudest sound. So it actually it depends on how you present, how you express yourself through the drum, according to the mood that you are in at that moment of playing those very syllables. So if I give you an example of how it is used with singing panegyric songs, it's Swasti Sri Vaivasvata Manukula Rajadurandarane Alankruta Rajadurandarane. And then
Beautiful. You captured the contrast spectacularly. I love this combination of the arts and traditions and nature. It's truly inspiring, Ravi.
Because
That's
all
beautiful.
arts are emanating from nature.
Absolutely. So from the morning, the breakfast tea, our tropical breakfast in the inspirations line, we have moved to Ceylon Spice Chai. We have gone on to an oolong, which is soft, gentle, with a twist at the end. And now we're coming to something altogether different. And so for Ravi's consideration, I have a soft aromatic tea. This is a green tea using a tradition that is around 3,000 years old. It combines the petals of jasmine and natural jasmine to soften it. And what it does is it balances the astringency of the tea in this light, aromatic, gentle tea. It has certain softness, it has sweetness, it's very gentle on the palate, and the aftertaste is also gentle. It's all about harmony, but gentle harmony. So I know with percussion it might be a little difficult, but I know you can do it.
Well, as I told you before, any of these drums can play very gentle sounds and very aggressive sounds as well. A note is like the heart of a music piece. Percussions are made for playing rhythms that stem from the heartbeat. But then note how these different notes, as you feel these different tones of flavors in different parts of the tongue in the mouth, how not simply the rhythms but different notes are created out of the drums. For example, if I play this dung lo ta do do ta ta do ta, so it makes a melody. See, it's not simply there, but then when I put it into a framework of a rhythm cycle, dong 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 dong. So it's soft and creates different notes, not simply rhythms, but within a time cycle.
That's beautiful, and in fact, melody is very appropriate because this next tea that we are going to look at is actually a melody. It's a melody in tea, in fruit. It combines a fine, mid-grown Ceylon tea, right? Little bit oaky, but also combines fruit notes. And here we have a little bit of citrus. So you have that spectacular, sensuous sweetness of strawberry. It's almost a fleshy sweetness. You have a little bit of raspberry, which is different. It's a little harsher, little bit more tart, but all coming together, and the melody comes from the tea. So like we had the jasmine with the softness and the aromatics, the floral note of the jasmine coming together with the green tea. Here you have a black tea, which is a fermented tea, so it has more intensity, and it's bringing together into the melody that you showed us so beautifully. It is a beautiful concept, and really, as you say, when you really take it back to its roots, what you are doing and what I am doing here is trying to understand how nature has influenced these, and really expressing nature in our respective traditions and arts.
That's right, exactly.
So fruity, fragrant, sweet. It's like commonly whenever I taste this tea, I imagine it as how it would be when you walk through an orchard where you have the beautiful aromas of raspberry, of mango, of different fruits. Little tart, little sweet, soft, but woody. So very complex.
Okay, let's try to do it without any of these drums.
Now that would
The
be a
drum
challenge.
syllables, all these drums have a very rich, highly codified drum languages. See, for example, the tabla. Na, tung, tatakata gadigana. Any syllable can be verbally uttered on this. Tang katakata jong or dung dung ta. So, I'll try to express that feeling through a combination of drum syllables expressed verbally that combines some of these drums. Yet, and also bringing it a melodic aspect to it. Takita takita takadhimi taka jonu takita takita takadhimi taka jonu takita takita takadhimi ta jonu ta ta takadhimi taka jonu ta ta tarikadhimi taka jonu ta takita takadhimi taka jonu takita takita ta jinga takata kukunda kukunda kun takatarikita kukunda kukunda kun takatarikita ta takita tang ting tang ta takita tang dam tam ta takita ta jin tang takta takta dang ding dang, the takta takta dang ding dang. Dong 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 dong.
That was magnificent, magnificent. Truly a walk through a fragrant orchard and exactly expressing this inspirations, berry sensation. Now I have an altogether different challenge because this tea, it comes, of course, with a Sri Lankan pedigree, but it has a little bit of a variation here. The variation comes from the fact that it is a combination of a tea, in this case again a tea from around 4,500 feet elevation, so it has the brightness and the body, the balance, but it is combined in this case with a little bit of bitter almond. So you have a little bit of bitterness, but you have the sweetness, you have the nuttiness. Complex, not as complex as the berry sensation, but deliciously different with that nutty sweetness, the woodiness of the tea, and in a probably a more aggressive, more intense tea than what we had in the jasmine, and certainly more intense that we had in the soft woody fruits that we tried in the earlier one.
The word nutty taste brings me to this. Made out of some kind of African nuts. This is an African instrument though. This rattle, it brings the sound of the nuts. So let's try to combine this with maybe the pot drum here.
It's a pleasant bitterness.
It's a pleasant bitterness.
So I think you're doing it right.
Yeah, so let's try and combine these two, the nuts and the bass sound of the calabirea.
Perfect, perfect. And in fact, this African instrument was the bitterness of that almond, the sweetness and the bass notes perfectly embodied the tea and the rest of the profile, the taste profile of the almond. Fantastic. I really, you know, when we started talking about this project, I never imagined how much similarity, what the parallels, the synergies, similarity in heritage that we would see, but also now similarity in terms of the senses.
Senses, yeah.
Magnificent. So now we go back to something that is a little bit like the berry sensation. It is somewhat like a walk in an orchard, but it has, like with all our teas, it has a little bit of a twist.
Okay.
And this twist is a citrus twist. So I'm going to taste it so that I can express it more accurately. Okay, we have here from the skin of the orange and the lemon, you get the oils that really give it more definition. And actually, it's according to our tradition, I think we value the skin and the whole fruit more than just the inside. That flavor
Yes.
comes from the oils on the skin. It has a little bit of citrus, so it's a little bit lemony, little bit of orange, and it has a little hint. And in this case, we have the world's finest cinnamon growing in Sri Lanka. So this line of teas, each one has a little bit of a magic in it. And for us, the magic comes purely from nature. And cinnamon is so good for human health, but in taste, it's also quite extraordinary and quite unique. So the entry is quite gentle with the orange, sweet, then it evolves with the citrus, the lemon, and then you have the cinnamon that comes in, sort of a reminder that there is spice, that the world is a spicy, beautiful world here in Sri Lanka.
Exactly. So, if I'm right, cinnamons are also are grown in the
Low country.
In low country as well as up country, or it's
Not a lot
mostly
up country.
Mostly low country, isn't it?
Mostly low country, Ratnapura, this Gaul,
That's right.
in the southern part of Sri Lanka.
Southern part of Sri Lanka, exactly. Here we have a drum from the low country, actually the southern part of Sri Lanka, which is called the Ruhunu Beraya, and also called the Pahatarata Beraya, which literally means the drum of the low country. Let me express this flavor through this drum, which belongs to the Pahatarata or the southern lowlands of Sri Lanka.
Ideal. Perfect.
There's an interesting thing about this drum. The skin used for this drum is actually the stomach lining of the cow.
I see.
Traditionally, it's the stomach lining of the cow. And as far as I know, there are very few musical instruments that use that part of an animal for a musical instrument.
It has a unique sound.
Unique sound.
It elegantly embodies what we talked of because it captures the feeling that you get when you taste this combination, this complex combination of citrus, the lime, the orange, the spice. It's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Now this one, I'm actually going to bring across to you so that you can have a taste. In that, you have this, you could interpret as a feminine tea. It's a tea that combines tea, again a bright, typically Ceylon tea from the Dilmah Valley. You combine it with the softness and the romance of rose, and the lingering finish that you should feel now is natural vanilla. So it's a combination. It's not a pure tea, but it's a tea that combines several beautiful ingredients to produce a tea that we call a dessert tea. So what we encourage them is skip the sugar, take this, and you get the sensation of a dessert. It's very different to a pure tea. It's not a conventional tea in the form of it's not a synthesized flavor, but it is a pure tea. And we have here, I told you that each one has a magical ingredient. And we have in this belimal.
Oh,
so a lot of the sweetness is complemented. You see some depth, some savory notes coming in. That is the belimal. And that is complementing the rose, and it creates that additional complexity.
Oh, lovely. You said it's you'd like to introduce it as a dessert tea. So I got this kind of a very sweet feeling by sipping.
It means a natural sweetness within you.
Yeah.
So it means you're a sweet person, because if you have a sweet feeling and you take this, it's brings it out. It complements each other.
Is not a drum but a percussion instrument that is used to give the beat only to a drum, but it is so musical that it will ring in your ears for a while. And the open and close sounds. So two different flavors.
I love it, and you know why particularly that it is relevant to this tea, because bale flowers or belimal, it's something that, well, you and I know we take regularly.
Yes.
It detoxifies, anti-immune, and you know, a lot of these diseases that we have in the world, they're immune diseases, and they not only the immune but also inflammation. They're caused by inflammation, and so this belimal, it helps. So does tea. Tea is so good for health. Of course, it was first discovered as a medicine, and it's only then that it became the beverage that we know.
Right.
But the diminishing note, the softly diminishing note, is almost spiritual, almost meditative.
Right.
And you can feel, it's almost like a window into the soul, like how when you play some of your instruments. And so I find in the same way, a good tea, it should give you that serenity.
Serenity,
that peace.
exactly.
And I think that is the pairing that you have made.
You're
It's
right,
beautiful.
exactly, yes.
Thank you. Thank you. So now we go on. Now this is something that is surpassingly gentle. And I'm going to use your spoon again because I want you to try this. A very delicate. This is actually a herb.
A herb.
A herb. These are the flowers of chamomile.
Ah.
And just try a little bit of that. Floral, notes of apple.
There's a note of apple also, yes, that's right.
Gentle, but very, very gentle. It's not gentle in a typical sense. It's gentle in a very gentle sense.
Gentle sense.
It is really gentle. So I would like to, you see the apple note and you see the herbal note.
Right.
It's not really savory, it's more sweet, but
I would like to use the udakya again here, this hourglass shaped drum, to play a very gentle rhythm. The gentleness here is that when you take a very gentle, slow walk, maybe across a garden, you see the natural rhythm of a human's walk is always in 3 beats. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you take a slow walk, you may try that you walk in 3 beats, you know, like the rhythm, the natural rhythm that comes to you is 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You know, like 2 lovers hand in hand walking through a beautiful forest.
you're a romantic, Ravi. So I think maybe I might even say that comes from the rose and French vanilla with belimal that you tried. I will interpret that as the soft feet of a baby walking. And
Yes.
because this is an infusion, a herb that babies also enjoy. So you made a beautiful parallel there. So now we come to another herb, but this is peppermint. It's pure peppermint leaves, and peppermint is fantastic because it is a digestive. You know, after you've had a meal, your digestive system begins to operate, and sometimes it can get a little bit of stress. So what the mint, the menthol does is it aids the digestion by relaxing the muscles. And so
Right.
this tea, well, it's an infusion, so it's a herb, has a sparkling, really,
Yes, yes.
when you drink it, you have to open your eyes wider because it awakens the senses, and it's vitalizing, revitalizing. You feel a freshness on your palate.
Yes.
That comes, it starts to tingle. And so I think this tea should be expressed in something that is about life and really revitalizing.
Oh, that brings me to this drum, which has a very sprightly tone.
Spectacular. You captured it beautifully. And that's what the mint, the peppermint tea or infusion does on your palate. And it's what it does for your mind. Thank you. Ravi, it's been spectacular.
Ooh.
As far as I know, this is the first time that this kind of harmony has been created amongst tea and your art. And the way you use the art of percussion, it's mind-blowing. And like each of these teas contain this magical ingredient, you brought another magical ingredient, and that is your art. Thank
And
you.
that's, I mean, the base is nature. Tea, and this is clay, this is wood, and various other natural materials. And so it all stems from nature. So nature lives in harmony always.
Thank you, Ravi.
Thank you for inviting to experience this beautiful, so many different kinds of teas at the same time. It's beautiful. I understood the different tastes and the expressions that each different taste gives. Perhaps this is going to inspire my drumming in the future.
And you know, the adventure is going to continue, this experience, because next we're going to have to experience it with food.
Great.
So we will try culture, tea, percussion, and Sri Lankan food.
Lovely.
Thank you, Ravi.
Thank you.